In the late 1960s, an avant-garde group called Archigram published some radical ideas for the future of architecture. One of their most famous ideas was Walking City, which was a contained city that had legs to move around. This project led to ideas that cities no longer needed to be stationary. Just as people could adapt to their environment, so could the cities they live in. From there, Archigram continued to publish drawings that pushed the limits for how buildings might look in the future. The group's abstract predictions looked at how people in the future could continue to move. Instant City, which was another one of their projects, showed an idea of pop-up towns that temporarily existed as needed. Balloons would be used to lift up tents and displays in a carnival-like setting. Each consecutive proposal by Archigram showed more fleeting dwellings. Drawings of time-based settings correlated the theme of growing technology. Buildings no longer had a place as solid objects. The publications were collages of people and places that could move at will, thanks to communication and transportation improvements. Archigram's take on urban lifestyles reflected how society was moving into a fast-paced future. Current research in artificial intelligence continues to explore these ideas of future urban society. MIT's Media Lab, founded in 1985, has over 25 groups working on over 350 projects in cutting-edge technology. One group, called Mediated Matter, aims to produce these environmentally inspired materials. They make projects that seamlessly combine data collection with material fabrication. The Gemini chair is one example of Mediated Matter's products. The lawn chair uses 44 unique materials to make a comfortable and quiet experience. Projects like this suggest that today, technology is capable of being mass customized. Every individual could own or produce products tailored to themselves. You might ask, how do projects at the Media Lab relate to Archigram? We can use past predictions and technological innovations to help project the future of social growth in artificial intelligence. From the radical walking city to the customized digital fabrication of a chair, there are trends that impact the social growth of urban society. Keep in mind that in the 1960s, people were still using typewriters, and cassette tapes were still considered a new thing, so obviously at the time, Archigram's ideas were not at all realistic. Luckily, things changed in the 1970s. This decade saw the arrival of small cars in the popular market, a trend still in place today. The technology in this decade set up the foundation of modern technology, color TVs and cable being some of them. The personal computer didn't even arrive in the average household until the 1980s. Also popularized in this decade is a portable data storage device, the floppy disk. In addition, the mobile phone, Walkman, and the VCR were also commercialized in this decade. But the popularization of the internet didn't come until the 1990s. The ability for any common person to access the internet increased the scope and speed of idea exchanges. The demise of the dial-up was caused by the proliferation of Wi-Fi networks in homes, on campuses, and even citywide. The first decade of the new millennia saw the rise of personal gadgets such as the iPod and later the iPhone. Which is not to say that these ideas are realistic in 2014, but they are definitely more conceivable today. Today, with smartphones becoming ever more attached to their owners, the smartwatch monitoring a person's health, all of the wonders of Google Glass, right now is a neat time to be able to experience all this innovation. Technology seems to be advancing exponentially. Well, if you haven't heard of something called Moore's Law, which is that over the history of computing hardware, the number of transistors in a dense integrated circuit doubles approximately every 2 years. Perhaps a self-fulfilling prophecy, but this prediction has turned out to be right up to now. But what does this mean for the realistic future? The advancements of computing leads to more customized technology, allowing people to become more individual. If people are attached to their smartphone today, can you imagine what it might be like in the future? Smartphones, smart glasses, smart driverless pod cars picking up their owners? Because of technology, is this the path that society is going down? Is technology causing people to become more independent and individualistic? However, as our human population increases with the growth of cities and urban areas around the globe, this leads to inevitable problems in our society. In order for societies to sustain themselves in the future, environmentally sustainable designs need to be implemented. But of course we know this already. Everyone and their mom these days are talking about sustainability. It's a buzzword. But what exactly does sustainability mean? More than simply reduce, reuse, recycle, the sustainability ideology strives for the most environmentally efficient design. Here, efficiency means to attain the maximum output with minimal input. We want to focus on a reduction because it is the most energy efficient. To reduce energy emissions by reducing energy consumption. Sustainable development defined by the United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. According to the American futurist Alex Steffen, most energy consumption is predestined by the communities and cities that people live in, and what kind of places people live in, how they commute to necessary places. These are all determined by infrastructure. What does this mean for the people of the future living in cities? Well, good thing is that areas with higher population densities tend to have lower emissions, because the distance between the individual and all their points of necessities, like the office or grocery store, is shortened. By reducing distance, there will also be a reduction in fuel consumption. However, it is not necessary to densify an entire city. It is much more efficient to increase the density in specific spots. Stefan makes an analogy to metaphorical tent poles that raise the entire density of the city by increasing density in certain key areas. If were to future urban planners decide to raise the population tent pole, artificial intelligence can make this possible. Smart cars, smart buildings, smart cities. Anything can be a source of information because anything can have sensors, from public lamp poles to robot door greeters. The information explosion in the last 50 years, which has led to today's information overload, presents incredible opportunities for intelligent systems in the future to make smarter analyses of data. With the rising population in denser cities, people will be living in closer quarters. This means that people will need to learn to share because naturally, places of higher population density have a large amount of shared space. Collaboration is really the site of the future. One way to create this collaborative future, this shareable city, is to make more adaptable infrastructure. Buildings and cities that change as cities and people and cultures and economy changes. Adaptable, changeable cities. Sound familiar? Adaptable, collaborative cities that are environmentally minded and conscious in many ways, made possible with the technology of artificial intelligence. This is the projection of the future urban landscape.